Underneath the African sky, a great heart is standing by.
Right, chaps, this is the Pinnacle X podcast with Doug. And today I have got a wonderful Zululander, true Zululander on the podcast, and I'm super excited. Marius Schoeman, you know, the stories behind this man, which I'm dying to tuck into and dive into today, are exciting, guys, because Marius is a legend. Most of us know him from his days playing for South Africa in the sevens, coaching, academies, developing players. And not just that, we dive in, as you know, with the Pinnacle X podcast, we dive into the behind the scenes of the actual person and what difference he makes in this world. And guys, today's story, I'm hoping, starting from Mpangeni, where I was born. Marius grew up at a school there called Nieuweland. You'll see in the background there, which I'm sure he'll proudly show you. He ended off at Pole Gymnasium. And there were. Hey, you know when they're from Pole Gym, when he'll tell you. Yeah? Anyway, he'll wind me up about college, but guys, Marius is a proud dad of two kids, and he's a man we can learn so much from today. And today we're just going to dive into a few things. So Marius, thank you, man, and really thank you for taking the time, and hopefully you're going to share some exciting stuff today.
Hey Doug, thanks for having me. It's always exciting to share stories and just be part of something big. So well done for you as well. It's great to be able to just share and hopefully make a difference in someone's life through one message.
That's what it's about, isn't it? You hit the nail on the head. We might as well end the podcast now. It's making a difference in at least one person's life. That's all we got to do.
All you need to do is one person, and they must do the same for one person, and if that continues, we'll have a better country.
Yeah, 100%. So, okay, so 30 minutes isn't long, and we both agree that our concentration spans, it's important to keep these chats short. So, especially for me. So you left the good people in Zululand, and then you ended up down in Paarl. Without diving into where your family roots are, all in Winterton, Lance Luffingham, if you ever listen to this, the pig farmer up there, you'll know the Schoemans are close and watching you, making sure you're behaving. But tell us about now going through Paarl, because I know besides being involved in the sevens and all that, which we'll get to now, you've got your own sevens tournament that you run out of there. Tell us about that. What Paarl did for you, and kind of the relationship you have with the school now.
Yeah, it was a massive change for me coming from Epangeni, being in Nieuweland.
Yeah, Nieuweland.
Is actually,
did I say Nieuweland? Sorry, I got it wrong. Nieuweland.
Don't worry, we all know your Marius College background, so we're not going to dive in there. But no, I came here as a 12-year-old. I was actually a year younger, and so I was 12, turning 13, going into boarding school. It was quite tough, that first year, but knowing actually no friends up here.
Yeah.
But I must say, the school changed my life. It played a big role in my personal development. I think you'll agree that, and I know I'm joking about Marius College, but your bigger schools, your top 20 schools, with their background and history and culture, it plays a massive role in a young, especially a young man's life, and I grew up with a dad, so they took that place of that father figure. But came through the school, did a post-matric year. I actually did my matric with the Vet Barry, and the year after Marius Schoeman. So we had some lekker oaks on our team, had a good team. And I think it laid a massive platform for where I wanted to go after school, and then ended up playing rugby for so many years. Fortunately enough to play 15s and 7s and playing sevens, Springbok sevens for 10 years. That was amazing, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm a very big supporter of giving back, because there's always people giving while you're playing, you know, and helping you in your career. And there's massive need for us to do the same to the young boys, and playing that role of a father figure, because I think that's something there's a big lack in our country, and most families as absent fathers. You know, the guys are working. All of us, we work, and you don't spend enough time with your boys, or with your kids. You know, so and giving back. So years after playing, I was actually approached by Jean Stemmet. He's in charge of a lot of the sport and marketing at Paul Gymnasium, and asking me if I'll be willing to do a tournament in my name. You know, the first thing is you're a little bit your name, because this was actually one of the first tournaments that had a name a player's name attached to it. You know, you get all your other tournaments now. You know, you're on a 16 events, and one at Paul Roos, and so everyone's doing it. But John had the vision to start one of the first ones 8-9 years ago, and we started the Marius Schoeman sevens, and it was so successful after year one that we brought in Fast 5 hockey and Fast 5 netball the year after, you know, and now it's
awesome.
Probably one of the biggest short code sporting events that I know of. Last year we had 102 rugby teams. We had 70 odd Fast 5 netball and Fast 5 hockey teams, you know, so it's fantastic, and all our proceeds goes towards school fees. So at the moment we got the MDic Group as our title sponsor at that event, and we are actually putting 5 kids through school every year. So that is what it's about, you know.
That is awesome. What a nice story. Well done. Well done.
It's just lekker, you know, and you don't accolades. We the first boy we put through school played SS Schools, Carl Smith, a couple of years ago, you know, and that is what you want. One of our boys are studying, I think, at Pinnacle this year, Emmanuel Prinsloo, and they are just making a success out of life. We don't expect them to be Springboks, but we want them to make a success out of their lives and just give them that opportunity. So that's what it's about, you know. And as I said, you know, being involved with the sevens for 24 years, I just walked away last year, November. I played for 10 years, and back in the days, I started the Sevens Academy with Neil Pell, and it was so successful, you know, with the players like Cheslin Colby and Werner Koch and Justin Geduld and Quagga Smith. That was our first year intake, and again, you know, the opportunity to give those boys, the last player, Kurtley Arends, who's playing for the Springboks now. So it was tough for me to walk away, but fortunate enough to join the South African Rugby Legends.
So okay, you mentioned all those names there. I mean, did you recruit all those guys?
Yeah, so my first year, it's actually funny, you know, just to I did a presentation to SA Rugby, and you'll always have your you know, people supporting you, and but there'll be those guys who sees you as a threat, you know. So and it was like that. I had to really knock on the doors and keep on knocking, and we got opportunity way back. Mr. Johan Prince was still the CEO, and Andy Marinos was the GM, and he actually gave me 6 blank contracts. And it's funny, $5,000 a month, you know, back then. And he said, listen, for 2 years, here's 6 blank contracts. Go and get 6 players. Let's see how this academy, if it's going to work. And I went to the Craven Week, and I went to various tournaments. And I was actually laughing because at the one event, I asked the guys, why don't you have this Albertus Smith in your SA school squad? And some of the selectors back then actually laughed and said, "Nah, that small flanker." I'm like, "Yes, that small flanker of the Pumas." And they're like, "Nah, you can have him. You know, small sevens player." I thought, "Keep this guy massive." So I signed Quagga, Alberta Smith, and
Yeah.
then and Cheslin Colby from Brackenfell High, Justin Geduld, and then Werner Kok. I mean, Werner Kok back then didn't even get a bursary to. I asked him, where are you going next year? He said, no, he's going to do a fitness course at, I think it was still the Health and Racket Club or something,
Okay.
back in the days. Or I'm not sure if it was Virgin Active back then, but and I asked him, no, man, come to the Sevens for a year. Let's see how it goes. So the good thing is they came. I gave out 6 contracts, and 4 of them, actually 5 of them, played for the Sevens. The other one was V. Strydom. And I mean, those 4 big names went through,
All
and
right.
from there, the year after, I recruited Ruan Nel, who was also went through the cracks, played fullback for Wits, Dylan Sage, and every year got players in. Selvin Davids, and as I said, the last one was Kurtley Arendse. So recruitment became actually my strong point, and
Yeah.
I still love it. I mean, Kurt played for UWC, Chester Williams. I spoke to Chester, and back then Kurt was actually taking the train from Paul every day to Cape Town, and what a story, he was
So
already
so
21. So,
so
at various levels.
what's the lesson there? What's the lesson? Because these guys weren't even noticed. So you picked them up, and what's the lesson around this for the people out there?
Yeah, I think for a player is just never stop. Just keep on. You can't put your whole career in one guy's hands.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you will be missed by someone. You will be missed, but keep on working hard. Someone will eventually pick you up, or hopefully pick you up. There's unfortunately a lot of guys that gets missed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the lesson is in there, but.
Well,
Um,
isn't it about self-belief and not giving up on yourself, like you say? A guy like Quagga Smith, I mean, truthfully, I don't think there's anyone better over the ball anywhere in the world, even right now. I mean, he's just unbelievable. I think he teaches all the box. How's that? I
You,
think
and just not being the best like fetcher, and probably one of the guys the highest work rate. What a great individual off the
he
field.
is. Yeah.
And to me, that's it's very important. I know for Neil Powell as well. It's not just about developing a player on field. If you don't develop them off field, you've actually failed as a coach. You need to develop those boys off field as well.
Yeah.
To become men after rugby. And Quagga is such a humble and great
Awesome.
person. We still in contact, have a really good relationship. But yes, don't stop. Don't
Yeah.
stop. You can't. There's so many guys playing B team at school level, and it's just because a coach might not like him.
Yeah.
So keep on
Or
working. The vet.
or is that Paul?
Uh, yeah,
And
always.
and
Yeah,
the
but
B team player is as good as any other player in any other first team, and he can't
that
give
is
up that guy.
that is exactly like what you just said. There's I'm actually looking at, well, my kids are here.
Yeah.
And I see some of the kids coming from other schools that played first team. They come here and they play for the 4th or the 5th team. And they
Yeah.
were first
Yeah.
team or 18 players, but don't stop.
Yeah.
You see players develop from 14 to 18. The one
Yeah.
guy's the quickest under 12, and then all of a sudden they surpass him. So just keep on working. The opportunities will be there. But then it's in your hands. But yes, sometimes you need someone to just give you a break, and but then you obviously need to take it and take it by the
Okay.
horns.
So Marius, now you're playing for the Boks, eh? When you were playing in those days, how was it? I mean, what did you find was the winning recipe? Because yes, you had ups and downs. So now, how did you keep that middle? What was the winning recipe for you? I mean, when you're looking back now.
Um, Not as a player, as management. You're talking
No,
when
no,
we.
as a player, because I mean, you've got pressures on you as a player, big time.
No,
Not
no.
just that, expectations, all that kind of stuff. Hey,
Look, there's
I'm
a lot of.
throwing hard questions at you today. I don't expect to.
It's
You,
actually not hard. you actually, there's so much pressure on players, because in today's era, it's about winning. It is
Yeah.
about winning. You win, you get sponsors. You can see in the media now. The Springboks won 2 World Cups. Look how the sponsors have gone to over
Yeah.
200%. So you need to win. I think the most important thing is consistency. You need to be consistent. You can't win one and then, if you talk sevens, you can't be in a final and then be ninth and then be third and then be 12th. You need to be consistent. So I always tell the players, like, and most recently to Philip now, I said, Philip Snowman, I said, just make the semifinals every
Yeah.
tournament. That's better than being in one final and missing the cut 5 times. So
Yeah.
that consistency. But you're right. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on the players.
Because
And
where I'm going here is that mental strength. So how?
100%, you need to
Yeah.
be mentally so tough. So we're trying to, the last couple of years, put systems in place to help the players with that. That's why so many teams have sport psychologists but you need to talk to people. You can't just stay in that bubble of training, performing. You will hit a burnout at some stage, and but not only for the players, for management as well. There's
Yeah.
a lot of pressure. I felt in the last couple of years, especially the last 2.5 years. We took a dip, the seven system. So for 5 years, we were probably top 2 or first in the world. We won that back-to-back
Yeah.
series. Unfortunately, with COVID, the academy was closed, and the academy was our pillar. That was our feeder system. And without a feeder system in sevens, because the sevens is in so much competition with all the unions, to get those best players, you won't always get the best players. But so it is tough. And then obviously academy gone, took a dip. A lot of pressure. You as a coach and as management get called in and said, listen, this, you need to hit this or you're gone. So there's constant pressure. So the coaches also need to have someone to talk to, get either a mentor or sports psychologist. But it's becoming more and more.
But that recipe, this is what I'm trying to get at. So you throw in the poiky pot there, all these players.
Yeah.
If they all play individuals, you're going to get pumped. I mean, that's the rule across team sports. You guys got it right somehow. I mean, I look at the current team. They're actually lighties. They're lighties. They're small guys. But gee, they punch above their weight.
So that's why I said we'll never get the best players. Well, even there, you'll never get the biggest. And you'll see our size. We are smaller players. You go to Craven Week, you don't get Varsity Cup, you try and sign a player already signed with the Bulls or the Sharks. And great, fantastic. I personally believe that the pathway to the Springboks, especially for your backline players, should be through a 7 system or even training camps. Just be part of that to work on your individual skills. But in saying that, I always say you don't need to have the best players to have the best team.
Yes.
You need to keep those players. It takes about a year to become a sevens player. You don't just rock up. And that's something we're still trying to get a mind shift from, obviously, some people higher up, because a lot of people think, you rock up at a training camp, you train for 2 weeks, and you just mention
DuPont.
No. So the sevens at the moment, we are smaller guys, but every player knows exactly his roles and responsibilities, and that is where Philip and coaches are doing a great job. But it takes 6 months to, I actually want to say a year, because training, yes, but the only way to develop sevens players to play tournaments, you can train for 3 years, but you'll stay on the same level, you need to play international tournaments. So that's why that feeder system is so important for those youngsters to play in 4 to 6 international tournaments before they play for the Springbok side. Because no Springbok side should be a platform for development. That must be where your best players already developed. And so you need to use your under 19, under 21, your academy, as your development, develop the players.
Yeah.
And by saying development, I'm not saying color. Development is developing your skill and
Yes.
making sure you know exactly your role and responsibility, because it's one mistake, whoop, can be a 14-point turnaround in a game. You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah,
it's
and it's quick. I mean, we've seen when you guys beat, who did you beat in the last 2 minutes of the game or last minutes of the game? Was it the All Blacks in the 1/7
yes,
tournament? I think it was the
yeah,
All Blacks. You scored 2 tries to win in a minute, and it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like they were like
That's
shocked.
that's how quickly a game can change. And now look at the kickoffs. Everything has all the focus has moved to the kickoffs. You kicking off and retaining, getting the ball back. You know, so it's become so technical. But I think the guys played very well in the last tournament.
Yeah.
And looking forward to seeing them in Hong Kong. They're playing in a new stadium, so that's something fresh. So, but yes, the mental aspect, you are absolutely right. It's going to become bigger and bigger as well. Not just while you're playing rugby, post rugby as well. We're going to see a lot of a mental shift. It's actually, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
The post rugby issues.
So on the training side of things, because I mean, the sevens player has to be so fit. I mean, really, there's no rolling subs, bro. You boys have to be properly fit. And I mean, how would you compare that to 15s on a fitness level? Because the lungs must burn.
Yeah, look, it's a total different fitness.
And also, Marius, you're playing a number of hard games over a weekend. It's not like it's even though it's 7 minutes a half, it's still tough games.
Let me tell you what the biggest issue is. It's not the hardness of the games. It's getting the players to, because you play 3 games a day, is to go for warm-up, get yourself mentally up here, play the game, getting back to 0. 2.5 hours later, you have to warm up again, get them up mentally, and now you do that the whole time.
Okay.
If you play a 15s game, you go out, boof, 90 minutes, you spike, and then you're done. The next morning, you get up, your body is sore, you can go for a pool session. The next morning of sevens, you need to get up again and do everything over again. You know, whether you have a lummy or and that is what makes it not just physically tough, but mentally tough as well.
Yeah.
Is to be able to lift yourself every 3 hours.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the respect that the audience doesn't realize what a sevens player goes through. I mean, and you've got a flying Fijian coming at you, and you got that lamey, like you say, on your quad or something, and now you know you're going to get shired there again, you know, and it's just there's
no space to hide away, you know. It's even in defense, it's always one-on-one attempts. In 15s, it's mostly 2 guys tackling 1 guy. There's not a lot of one-on-one hits, and most of the hits or defense is straightforward. You know, you go forward, you make your hit, guys are running straight lines. All of a sudden now in sevens, guys are stepping weak shoulders. You're running at a higher pace, and that's why it can be more injury risky. It's tough out there. I saw in Vernecock when he joined the Stormers years ago. I think the first month I saw his GPS data. He ran 2 kilometers more than anyone else in the team during a game.
Wow.
And you would see it's just work rate. You're so used to tackle, roll, get up, tackle, roll, get up. You know, in 15 sometimes you'll tackle and you lie there because you know there's enough other guys and you can get up and you can walk back to your spot, or at a wing you'll stay. You go up, back, up, back. They're kicking now, they're not kicking. So it's not high intensity, whereas for this 14 minutes, it's really high intensity. But it
Yeah.
was interesting to see his stats in a 15s game. And you look at the games, most of these sevens guys, they're in the frame the whole time, somewhere in the frame. So they cover a lot of meters. So you need to have
Proper.
respect. But as I said, it's a different game. 15s is more physical. So there's other aspects. So it's tough to
But
compare
but
the two.
there's merit in what you're saying, in that it would have been awesome if all our top backline players could actually go through a 7 system, because it would just give them an extra dynamic. Extra.
Yeah, again, it's just my opinion, but
I agree
obviously
with
for
you.
me,
I agree with you.
I have a background. It might be that I'll always back to sevens, but I just see the benefit in maybe is identifying a player at an 18 level and seeing, oh, one of his attributes, or he might have a low score in his one-on-one defense or ruck technique, or in contact skill. Send him to sevens, because again, there's no hiding.
Yeah.
It's one-on-one grids the whole time. So get him to up his skill and send him back to 50s. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Passing skill, running lines. There's a lot of things that'll benefit. And I think some unions might just be scared. Oh, it's going to play sevens, we're going to lose them. Whereas I think they must take hands and use it for development for certain players. Some guys will stay there for 3, 4, 5 years, but the others, you go in for a year and go back to your union just to fix your little shortcoming.
Okay, so you went through the coaching, but your baby is the high performance. Is that right? The High Performance Academy.
Yeah, so obviously started at the Sevens Academy and did all the tournaments, coach various SA18 teams, and I really enjoy that. We had some great names coming through our 18 pathway, and eventually then becoming the high performance manager for Springbok Sevens, where I was in charge of all the sevens, budget, recruitment. I really enjoyed that. It was fun, and I think ended it off on a high note by medaling at the Olympics last year. So that was
that's awesome.
That was great. But obviously it was tough walking away from the sevens, because it becomes part of your life.
Yeah, I'm sure. But now you've got a new challenge now, the SA Legends. And there's lots. I mean, the SA Legends do a lot for the communities out there, and people don't realize that. So maybe you can just touch on a little bit on that, because SA Legends is really, I don't know, I don't even know the background and stuff, but it's really the old players. It's a community that give back and help. I think it started with the injured players originally. I'm not too sure. Helping injured players within the game. I'm not too sure, but for me, it's a bunch of legends that got together and have formed now this massive organization. I mean, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so I was originally asked a couple of years ago by Mr. Gavin Farigis. Look, this is his legacy project. He is really fond about rugby. He actually sponsored the Springboks 1 year when they were in a bit of trouble. One of his companies, Blue Label Telecoms. Remember, they were in the journey, I think it's on one of the Twickenham tests. And he asked me a couple of years ago to get involved, and I told him I'm not ready yet. And I think now after Olympics, he approached me again. And my first 2-3 months, I went in to investigate what's the needs, and because I also had this idea of just the old boys helping here, helping there, golfing. But the SA Legends is the biggest development platform in the Southern Hemisphere, and that is where we need to educate people. They see the golf days and they see the fun stuff, the guys playing. But we've got over 30,000 kids in our VUCA and Ikawi program.
I mean, so that's incredible.
Yeah, it's countrywide. Players like Zane Davids, Babalwa Lachwa, Selvin Davids, they all came through the VUCA system. And that's under 15, and players there, when they play at the Ikawi week, that's like a Craven week under 15. non-traditional rugby playing schools, non-private schools, they then get drafted into mainstream schools. And that is where Zane Davids got pulled into Rondebosch. And now he's a
Okay.
Springbok Sevens. So it's giving opportunity to those players, especially in the rural areas. So that's the development side. We do a lot of coaching clinics. We've actually got one today at Boland Landbou School here in Paul,
Okay.
where we've got a couple of doing coaching clinic and kicking clinics. And then we're playing a game tonight with the SA Legends against the Landbou School.
Are you playing?
I'm definitely not playing. But I will be there. I will support. I had my time. But funny enough, last night we got a call, VPNL, who played for Scotland.
Yeah.
Ask if he can play. So VPNL is playing international. So we've got a lot of big names playing. It's we do various events. Cape Town 10s, 1-10s. We're playing in a game tonight. We're going to Portugal, Bermuda international tournaments with the Legends, where all the big names get together, and there's obviously good causes for all of that. Then we've got an event side to the Legends that does all these golf days. It's fundraisers. We are non-profit, and we've got long lunches. Sit at our long lunches. And on the other side, we do food drops, which is a big thing for us as well, is our community work. So we did a food drop last week in Germiston at a children's home. That was great. We took hands with the EFC, with a couple of EFC fighters, and one of them that we grew up in a children's home. Wow. And we went to help the children's home. We provided equipment to a soup kitchen the other day, but we do a lot of food drops. And next month or the month after, we'll do a stationary drop in the Eastern Cape. That's also something new at communities that don't even have your just a pencil or pen, So how do you educate kids if they don't even have the utilities?
What a great initiative! Well done. Yeah.
So we're really trying to make a difference. And that's why it's important for us to have sponsors. We're lucky enough to have a title sponsor in Cell C. We've got DSV, we've got various guys, Quest Capital. There's so many that's involved for the right reasons. And that's the first thing I'll tell a sponsor. We obviously need the money, or the VIK. But I said, please don't get involved if you don't get involved for the right reasons. We want the right people on board who's passionate. Our slogan is passing on the passion. So we want guys who's passionate, who's willing to give up their time, not just money. We want, and that's what the Legends do. They come after their playing days, and they'll give back, and they'll give their time, and you can't buy that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. No, a good mate of mine here in KZN, Wayne Favs. I don't know if you know Wayne Favs. Yeah, he's often attending the Legends. And Rob Hankinson. I don't know if you know these guys, but anyway.
I heard a great story about Wayne Favy last night, but this is not the platform to share that.
No. Favs is he's a good boy, and he's got a good family there. Anyway, okay, so we don't have much.
If you're going to a Dick Muir and John Allen, you will have stories the whole night.
Yeah, those are dangerous guys. I mean, Dick Muir is like a silent assassin, I think. Anyway, so now this Marius Schoeman now. You've gone through all these things, and I'm sure we'll do another we'll have another run at this another day. But who are you? How would you describe yourself?
No, I don't know how to describe myself. I just, but I know what I want in life, and I know what my passion is. Obviously, my passion is definitely rugby, but my passion is also, I think, development, and I want to make a difference. That's what I want to do. I think my background, people see you now, and they see, hey, you've got a lacquer car, or yes. must have had such a lack of life, you know. So I did not have that. I actually had a tough upbringing and tough times. As I say, I grew up with only my mother and two sisters. So there's certain things in my life that happen that I know that I can make a difference in other kids' lives. So I want to make a difference and help where I can. I truly believe that the saying, you need to earn my respect, that's wrong. I think people need to earn your disrespect. So if you respect people from scratch,
what a nice saying, yeah.
So I think we must change our mindset. I really like people. I like to network, and as I say, I want to try and make a difference. You know, don't want to sound like every other second guy.
Yeah.
That's the answer. But I really want to make a difference.
But what I want to say, and in ending here now, is a little boy that's come out of Iveland in Empangeni to where you are now, and you're capable. You know, you're deserving, and so many people think they're not deserving or they're not worthy. You know, they think they're worthless, and your story has basically taken that little kid from Zululand and has grown, walked this path, and you got to be proud of yourself. So I just want to congratulate you for that. You know, it's fantastic, and I hope the audience out there, guys, I hope you resonate with some of these this chat we've just been having now, and it's I promise you, nothing scripted, nothing. It's just us talking. And Marius, I just wanted to thank you, my friend, for an awesome chat, and I really appreciate you taking the time out. And to the guys at Paul, appreciate you using their office, and what a wonderful school. And thank you, my friend. I look forward to meeting you hopefully soon in the Midlands. I might have a beer up there with you or something like that. So, yeah.
Thanks for spreading the word for us. And all I want to say is there's a lot of blessings in life, and I've been blessed with people in my life. And so I want to do the same.
Thanks so much, my buddy. Okay. Keep well. We'll chat soon. Cheers.